Welcome everybody to another rousing evening of Zinny62 Live on YouTube, which technically translates as Zinny62 Live on, well, pretty much everywhere. And we've got a lot to talk about in a short period of time. I'm not going to be on long, perhaps about an hour and 15 minutes or thereabouts, but maybe 1:30, somewhere in there. But we'll see. And before I extend my greetings to those of you who are watching, thank you very much. I want to, first of all, catch up with the NFL news, and so it can set the basis for our discussion. And while I'm doing that also, I want to make absolutely certain that I get out the necessary tweets and Facebook posts. You would say, for those of you watching for the first time or watching this as video on demand, which means not live stream but this video, why do this? Because you want to bring traffic in to watch the live stream and interact. But we have our core group. Now, first of all, I gotta start off by talking about the amazing developments in the National Football League in terms of teams doing well and teams not. You've got the Falcons clobbering the Dallas Cowboys at Mercedes-Benz Dome on a, all things considered, rather frigid, well, moderately frigid day in Atlanta. I mean, look, around here 50 degrees is cold, okay? Because it can get up to the hundreds at this time of year, and it has before. Now, in this instance, they were under the dome was closed, it was cool. Or should I say appropriately warm? Yeah, I'll say that. It was the right backdrop for the Cowboys to be administered a butt kicking on behalf of the Atlanta Falcons, and in particular, one Adrian Clayborne. That's right. The Falcons' great defensive lineman. Sometimes he plays in, occasionally he plays tackle, but in the versatile move around scheme that Atlanta Falcons head coach Dan Quinn employs. Regardless, this dude had not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. No. That's Khalil Mack territory. No, I think he was meeting Khalil Mack's press clippings from the year before and added one more. He had 6 sacks against the Dallas Cowboys. That's right, 6. 6. I mean, if you're breaking it down, basically he had a sack plus per quarter, okay? And that is, let's look up what the record for sacks per game is. What is the record for sacks in a game? Let me go back and look that up real quick. So, and then see record for sacks in NFL game. What is the record for sacks in NFL game? Record for sacks in NFL game is, how could I forget? Derek Thomas. He had 7 sacks. Derek Thomas, who was represented by Lee Steinberg. Derek Thomas, the late, sadly the late Derek Thomas. 7 sacks. So Adrian Clayborne was 1 away from tying the record. Wow. I mean, so you have to ask, as a Raiders fan, can a Raider do that? Well, Khalil Mack almost did it last year. He had 5. It was 2 off. But why aren't the Raiders producing those kind of numbers? And it has to do with the kind of coaching they receive that doesn't allow them to penetrate like that, okay? So that's it. I have to open up by talking about Khalil Mack and with respect to what Adrian Clayborne did. This is a bye week for the Raiders, okay? And I'm going to now say hello to my group of ragtag regular Zinsters. Hey, Rick Rice. Hey, Crawfords371. ML Scott, how are you doing? And as Crawford pointed out just a few seconds ago, Niners get the win. Raider Nation, how are you doing? Says, depleted secondary is killing the pass rush. If you're talking about the Raiders, I would argue the reverse. I would say that the not properly coached pass rush is killing the secondary. a great pass rush and a great scheme can mask a great many sins in the back of the defense, okay? The Raiders don't have that. Melvin Lovejoy, how are you? Manny Log, how are you? Good evening to you. How are you doing? And great to have you here as well. And great to have everybody. Now I'm going to make sure I get my tweets out here. I'm going to get my Twitter game on as far as tweeting out about what we're talking about here and moving forward as we do in the conversation. And I've got to also talk about, and you were wondering what that other little subtitle is, you know, there's some racism going on with respect to the Raiders' effort to build a stadium in Las Vegas, and I'm calling it out. And I don't care how feathers are ruffled or whatever. Look, the people who've been doing this have been asking for this kind of take, okay? They have just been putting it out there like nobody's business. And this tweet that I saw earlier that just set me on fire. I couldn't believe it. It came from the Union 872 Laborers. I believe that, I don't know who exactly runs that account, but it was most irresponsible. I'm going to repeat to you right now what I saw that really just got my goat, as they say. And it was wrong, and it should not be out there, and yet it was. And not only that, on the eve of, regardless of how you feel about the groundbreaking, which should be fashioned as a happy event, but no, some people have to basically rub it in the face of us Oakland Raider fans, the idea that, oh, hey, they are on top of the world, can lose nothing, right? I mean, but look, it is really bad stuff. And what happened was that, all right, 872 Laborers, at 872 Laborers, issued this tweet. This is what was issued 10:33 p.m., November 11th, 2017, from Las Vegas, Nevada. And it reads this: Laborers Local 872 will not be held responsible for someone getting killed on a job site just because of lack of experience, just to meet a minority hiring goal. As if to say, oh, excuse me, are you saying that because I'm black, I don't have enough experience? I'm not looking for a job on the construction site, but I'm saying that's the message you send out, that, oh, all these minority people, they mean black, that they have to talk to are automatically not qualified, which is that's what this tweet says. That's what this tweet says, okay? You want to have a look at what I'm talking about? I'm delighted to show it to you. There it is, okay? Laborers Local 872 will not be held responsible for someone getting killed on a job site because of lack of experience just to meet a minority hiring goal, all right? And my point is, why say that if you don't think that because a person is minority, you have to talk to them, they're not qualified? This is, you know, goes back to the old racism that people talked about that I thought we were done with. The idea that because a person is black, they automatically don't know something. It goes back to the days of Al Campanis. Who's Al Campanis? Al Campanis was a Dodgers general manager who expressed the idea that he thought that blacks could not hold high manager positions because we automatically weren't smart. That's what this puts out. That's what this says, okay? And then there's this Elizabeth Woods who basically says, and basically replies, this is what she writes. She says, that's why we train and retrain. This is what she reads. Listen to this. Look at this, okay? Right here. Look at this right here. Look at this. It says, that's why we train and retrain if you want to work with people that know what they're doing. I want to go home every day. If you don't know what you're doing, don't come to our job. Well, you know what? It kind of goes without saying, doesn't it? I would think so. So that's terrible. That's bad stuff. That's bad stuff. And for them to do that, to put that out there, completely, 1,000% irresponsible. There's no other way. I mean, no other way to put it. and it's complete racism. All right? It's complete racism. And if you don't think so, hey, you can not participate in the live stream. That's just fine if you happen to be watching this in your live and you don't want to hear it. I'm going to present it. It is racism. Straight out. So, it's straight out, okay? So, when a person puts out tweets like that, that screams racism. Period. Period. And in California, okay, in the California context, all right, in the California context where we would never have this problem, if the Raiders had chosen to build their stadium and focused on building it in Oakland, this would never come up, ever, because we have a much more advanced hiring program. We have a number of people who are well integrated. We don't have these issues. When the Raiders came to Oakland from Los Angeles in 1994-95 and work was started on the refurbishment of the Coliseum, 25% of the workforce was minority. So Bourdain says, oh, we're going to have this record, or Dan Petraeus is going to have this record number of minorities. At 15%, excuse me, that's not a record. To not point at Oakland as setting the gold standard for minority work on an NFL stadium is absolutely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous, okay? Completely ridiculous, all right? And so completely ridiculous. Anyone out there who has to ask how it's racism, you really, really, really need to understand this. You don't get on social media and put things out there like that in a political environment, okay? At all. You don't put anything out there that implies that because a person is minority, they automatically aren't qualified. And if you have a workforce that is truly diverse, you don't need to put out a tweet like that. You put out a tweet like that when you're nervous about something. That's where that comes from. No, that was put out by the 872 laborers or somebody. I don't think anybody would do that. But my other point is, it was politically bad form to put this out right now on the eve of the groundbreaking, knowing it's going to piss some people off. I mean, or, knowing that. It was wrong. It's not even for discussion. Anybody who has to ask why it's racist, you know what? If you have to ask, you got a problem. I'm telling you. And that's the other point too, okay? In that, if I'm, as a black person, telling you it's racist, don't tell me it's not. Don't tell me it's not. Okay? Period. There's too much of that. Because you have somebody who's not black telling a black person, oh, that's not racist. And the black person saying, wait a minute, that's racist to me. And I'm impacted by it as the minority. Yeah, that's racist. If I say that's racist, the best thing for that person on the other end to do is, you know what you do as a gentle person? You apologize. It is not beneath you to apologize for something like that. Period. It's straight out racist. It shouldn't even be in your head. What should be in your head as a person who truly, truly thinks about other people and wants to be other people to be happy is to say, hey, this is a great day and we want to be inclusive. But there is nothing inclusive about a tweet like that at all. Not only that, you have an event that is, if you think about it, a public stadium is supposed to be, right? But it's closed to the public. How about that? You have a groundbreaking that's close to the public that is essentially supposed to green light the construction of the facility. I mean, come on, all right? I mean, seriously, really? I mean, so afraid. Oh my Lord, we can't stand the criticism. Okay? So you have opposites here. You have the Atlanta Falcons under Arthur Blank, who know how to work with the community. I mean the whole community. I mean the black community. And get a stadium done without rancor. And you got this. You want to see an example of an ownership and an organization that understands what it means to be truly inclusive? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Atlanta Falcons. That's in the executive office. That's everywhere, okay? I present to you the Atlanta Falcons. The Oakland Raiders, under Mr. Davis, had that standard. What's going on that the Raiders would allow themselves to be associated with that kind of behavior? Union 872 needs to apologize to the Oakland Raiders. Period. All right? Straight out apologize. That's absolutely ridiculous. Okay? Absolutely ridiculous. And so for that, I'll take your comments. John Mark says, closed to the public? Yeah, it's closed to the public. It is not that I've asked for an invitation. I don't want to go. Never expressed the desire to go to that complete. But no, closed to the public. And as Crawford 371 just wrote, Al Davis would be furious about this mess. Completely. It makes the silver and black look bad. It really does. And for Bedane, Oakland Raiders president Mark Bedane, to be, you know, the titular figurehead over this mess, I'm really disappointed in Mark, who I personally like a lot. Okay, I may disagree with what he does here and there, but I like Mark as a person. Mark Bedane is a decent man. I repeat, Mark Bedane is a decent man. All right. That's why this whole scenario hurts all the more, because I really like Mark Bedane as a person. When he was named president, I was in the room, or announced he was president. I was in the room at the press conference where Jack Del Rio was announced that he was hired. Very happy for Mark. Went up, shook his hand. Mark was kind enough to thank me for trying to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland. All right? And as small as that sounds, I appreciate that. Okay? But I don't like this. And anyone who believes in a harmonious society should be sickened by this stuff. I mean, completely sickened by it. All right. And Carver says Mark Bedane is taking a lot of bullets in this situation. He is. Taking too many. Taking too many, all right? Too many. And Bad Boy says, I have a link to a live viewing of the groundbreaking tomorrow. Can I share it? If you can, sure. I have no problem with that. And I may even look at the groundbreaking myself. Crawford says, Donis, the Razors home only lease agreement signed. John Mark says, Local 872 is un-American. I wouldn't go so far as to say that. No. I would never call an American un-American, but their behavior is not in the best tradition of America. I will say that. Collectively, okay? Bad Boy says, I have a link to a live, I got that one. And Donut says, has there been an agreement with UNLV and the Raiders? No, there hasn't, and John Marks did answer that correctly. Joseph Minsman says, I'm with you, Zenny. And, hey, Zenny, what tweet? John Marks, you want me to show you that tweet again? Let me know. And John Marks says he's looking forward to filing his court injunction. And Joe Benson says, you actually claim it's not racist. Why is that to you? And Raider Guy says it's a legit question. And Raider Guy says, I'd like to know how it's racism. I explained that. Raider Nation says, I don't think he's insinuating a minority is not skilled, but rather being forced to hire someone who's not skilled in order to meet a minority minimum. But he didn't say that. Okay? My point is, he mentioned a minority minimum. And no one has asked you, or anybody, not you, euphemistically, but no one has asked 872 or anybody else involved to hire someone just because they are of a number, okay? No one has asked that. I mean, they act like, look, you know what the real problem is in here? The real problem is this. Unlike Oakland and the Bay Area, which is very used to having minority, we called it, get this folks, 25 years ago, the term was MBEWBE. What is that? MB is Minority Business Enterprise, okay? Women Business Enterprise. That was 25 years ago. I repeat, 25 years ago. And here we are, 2017, you have a region that doesn't get it. And so all of a sudden they have to deal with this. They're quite literally being brought into the 21st century. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of when I went to Texas Arlington for undergraduate school, because I was a big, it's a long story there, which I've told before, but I don't want to digress. I realized over my first 2 years that I was in school there, I had quite literally taken a 20-year step back in time. That's right. I went from the Bay Area to the DFW Metroplex, but socially, I had walked 20 years back in time. That's what we're dealing with here. You have a society in Las Vegas that is in other cases 20 years behind the times, and this is one of them. And so you're hearing this by people who, may very well be well-meaning, but in this context, in this society now, it comes off as racist. It just does. And there's no other way to put it. Now, I'll get back to your comments, and it says, let's see here. Joseph Bidsman says, that's not a detailed answer as to why you think it's not racist. Can you explain why you don't think it's racist, Raider Guy? He's talking about Raider Guy, okay. Eric Madison said there's a story on Bleacher Report that a group of owners are thinking of forcing Jerry Jones out. I heard about that. And Joseph Jackson says, hey, Zinni, are there any other candidates running for mayor of Oakland? Hey, you know what, Joseph Jackson, that is a very good question. Let me do my quick check, if you will, all right? And what I'll do is I'll type Oakland elections right here, because it has been Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf for some time. I will click on elections and compliance portion of the oaklandnet.com website, as I'm doing right now. And hey, all of you, welcome to Zinni62 Live on YouTube. Thank you very much. And I'm going to the campaign filing portal. I'm checking this out. All right. And going down. And okay, candidates. We have City Council, Oakland District 2, 4, and Mayor. So click on 4. We have still just Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf is listed as the only candidate running for mayor. In her case, running for re-election. So there's been, in spite of all this, my friend Ken Houston running for mayor, or Ignacio De La Fuente saying he's going to run for mayor, or anyone else, Libby is the only person that is listed as a candidate, which means she has a fundraising arm and everything else. No, nobody else. So there's the answer to your question. So we've got, okay. And John Mark says, Vegas is a bad deal, the Oakland Raiders. Eric Madison says, I got that one that Eric Madison said. And we have Raider Guy says, don't need to give out a detailed response. Actually, that's not true, you do. He says, basic common sense as a black man tells me that's not racism. That's picking and choosing what's racist. And that's ridiculous. Okay, that's absolutely ridiculous. And Raider Guy, I don't know if you're actually saying that you're a black man or what, but the one thing that I really rail against is when a person I've never met or never seen writes they're black. I just gotta say, yeah, okay, right. Because, yeah, right, because I've had a number of instances where somebody did that and I figured out that the account that they were writing from was actually a fake account. I'm just being honest with you. I'm being completely honest with you. Anybody who's African American would not rail automatically against a point that's racist on general principle, because that person who did that in real life, if they experience racism, they would then have to open up themselves to the possibility that others would say, well, hey, wait a minute, we're not taking you seriously when you say you're being racist. Okay? Excuse me, when someone's being racist toward you. And you know for a fact you've been in that situation. So don't present that to me. It's disingenuous. Completely disingenuous. Your parents, your black parents would say, what are you talking about? And you know it. And you know it. I will continue. All right. So, hey, we have Flower says, Hey, just joined and I'm new. Welcome. Adam J, nice to have you. And so Crawford says, Joseph Binsman says, laugh out loud, you made a claim and aren't backing it up, pretty weak. Hey, Raider guy, you can say what you want to say. I'm kind of noticing the exchanges between the others, but I will not be responsible for moderators wanting to get rid of you. So, and here's the point, okay? When you talk about, when something as horrible as this comes up, you know when you're upsetting other people. So I'm going to say to the moderators, hey, if he is upsetting you guys and you want to do what you want, that's your call. I don't have a problem having him here at all. All I'm saying is this, and I'll say this even deeper, okay? All right? I will say this even deeper, okay? You should never be afraid to call out racism, ever. And you should never, ever do that at all, okay? And then something else. If a person can't see that you are African-American, saying you're African-American on a line and it's kind of like, don't bother. I've been at this almost 15 years. And far more often than not, someone online who says they're black turns out not to be. Just saying, all right? So, okay. Onward. Well, Raider guy, I told you. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So, yeah, and Joseph is right. He said, I think it's racist. And if I think it's racist, and not only that, if I think it's racist as a black person, it's even wrong for another so-called black person to tell me that I'm wrong. Okay? I mean, the best way to handle that is you could say, hey, look, I've had this experience, and here's why I don't think it's racism. I can write this down. Fine. That's it, okay? Anyway, Joseph Business says, gave ignorance the L there. If you make a claim and don't back it up, I will assume you're talking for your backside. No place for that here. Joseph, you made the call. I stand by your decision 1,000%. Because people, here's the thing. We have, as a number of you know, right, a litany of complaints about, from Harvey Weinstein to others, and the person making those complaints don't want to be shut down, do they? So here you have this person coming on my program trying to shut me down from complaining about racism? Ooh. Ooh. You see what I'm getting at? Ooh. Bad. Bad. Crawford says, Raider guy marching off with his tiki torch, good riddance, no place for that. Hey, Rick Rice says, John Marks, you are an advancement to modern day technology. And Crawford says he's lucky Boss isn't on. Like, yeah, Boss would, yeah, Boss is with the family doing the family thing. I can get that one. Now here's my question too. I wanna give everybody sort of a preview. This is my what to watch for preview for tomorrow's groundbreaking, if you happen to want to watch it. The number one thing that everybody should watch for is this, okay? Sheldon Adelson. Will Sheldon Adelson be there? What about Andy Abood? If you have Andy Abood in the room, that's interesting. But if you have Sheldon Adelson showing up, that's a big thing, okay? That's a big thing. Or even if you have Andy Abood speaking, who represents Las Vegas Sands, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's what I'm looking for, all right? Because that would signal the return, the possible return of Las Vegas Sands. I expect to see the Stephen Wynn types, all right? I expect to see NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. In fact, that'll be interesting to have Goodell next to the casino guys, You want to talk about what to look for, look for that. Will Roger Goodell be on the same stage as these casino guys? That's the real storyline. That's the other storyline aside from this. John Mark says, where would I go to see the groundbreaking? I I don't know off the top of my head. I would assume the Raider website. I would think that's the way it should be. And Crawford 371 says it would be awkward. I completely agree. It would be talking about Roger Goodell, who didn't want a year and a half ago Las Vegas to have the Raiders because of the casino issue. Now suddenly has this quite literally thrust in his face. Now, someone brought to my attention, and I know this Jerry Jones issue is other people have paid attention to this, right? Let me say this, all right? First of all, that I like Jerry Jones, always have. I like his entrepreneurial spirit and what he's done for the league in that context. However, in messing with Roger Goodell, he is taking on basically someone who is, for all practical purposes, and I've said this before, a made person, a made man. And Roger Goodell, I've said this before and I'll say it again, is as close to NFL, is NFL royalty. Far more so than Jerry Jones. Far more, okay? And I don't understand quite what's going on with Jerry, but for him to disrespect Roger Goodell the way that he has, for him to sow the specter of disharmony within the NFL the way he has done, is, at this particular moment in time, is not something that anybody who's a lover of what the NFL even purports to stand for should want to see. Above all else, it is very important that what Pete Rozelle built in terms of the economic and social harmony of the NFL owners group should be maintained beyond everything else. Because if it's not, the NFL will begin the slow crumbling toward a league that is not relevant. And right now, I don't care what is going on, the NFL is still extremely very relevant. So, and Roger Goodell has been a fantastic custodian of the league, and not only that, if you think about it, he is the first truly social media commissioner in NFL history, whose opinion has been shaped, whether he wanted it to or not, by social media. And he's weathered the storm, all things considered, quite well, I think. Now, the groundbreaking, what time is... Oh, let me get back to that. Sorry, Crawford 371 says, but he also had to show face just because he supports one of his bosses. Yeah, that's right, Crawford. And Crawford says it will look like what baseball went through. This is a really great comment by Crawford. Oh, Crawford took it out. Oh, Crawford, I thought you had a great point there. Oh, man, you erased it. I thought it was really great. Rick Rice says Jerry Jones is something I can't repeat. He says he doesn't know if he wants to take a knee or stand up. Whichever one won't hurt his bank account as much. Hey, Crawford, you made a statement that you then took back that I thought was great. And, oh, yeah, put it back, please. I thought that was fantastic. A fantastic statement. And John Marks, I believe the groundbreaking is at 3:30 Pacific. Yeah, 3:30 Pacific or thereabouts. They're being very tight-lipped with the exact time things get started. And I think it's because when they are, that indicates they're going to have a lot of high heavy hitters. Crawford 371 says the NFL will look like baseball looked back in the mid-1990s. I mean, are you talking about in terms of the home run issue and the gambling and all that? Or can you feel that? Flesh it out just a little bit, because there's a lot of ways I can go with that thought. Joseph Bisman says, Rick, you and I actually agree on something, but believe me, the only thing Jerry Jones cares about is business. Still can't believe Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job. Neither can I. But I have to think that what's happening is he being Colin Kaepernick is being thrown up with a salary offer that's against what he perceives his value is, and therefore isn't taking the offer on that basis. Politics aside, okay? So, now, see here. Crawford says the strike that destroyed the game at that time. Yes. Great point. Great point, Crawford. And Brandon Johnson says Cowboys over the Eagles next time. Ah, We'll see. You know what? The without Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know. I would take the Eagles. Pedro Gallardo says, why is Gordon Goodell so hated? How do owners and fans benefit with him gone? Pedro, I don't hate Roger Goodell, but I have a special reason not to. He's been very good to me over the years and has played a great role in allowing this company to grow and cover the National Football League. So I believe what's happening is that people today, because of social media, are presented with the acts that people who have titles and positions of, quote, power, unquote, do, and are allowed to render an immediate view or opinion, as we do here, on those actions. That's what this is all about, right? And in the case of Goodell, he presides over a league, the NFL, that is essentially a custodian of tribes. I mean, think about it. You've got the tribe called the Dallas Cowboys, the tribe called the Oakland Raiders, the tribe called the Chicago Bears, tribes. And what do tribes do but represent people who have different areas and therefore allowed to exhibit in that context tribal behavior, okay? So when you have a person in Roger Goodell who represents these different tribes, and all of a sudden you have owners within those tribes that want to take, well, you have incidents within those tribes that are handled within ways that the public can automatically quickly see they either agree with or don't agree with, like Rick Rice. Excuse me, not Rick Rice, excuse me. Ray Rice. Sorry, Rick Rice. Rick Rice is one of our more consistent viewers and Zinsters. But the Ray Rice issue, there were a number of people who hated the way he handled it. Jerry Jones among them. But what everyone forgets about the Rick Rice situation is that it was fueled by social media. And what I mean by that is there were two Rick Rice, there I go again, sorry Rick Rice. There were two Ray Rice situations. There was the Ray Rice situation before the video was put out by TMZ, excuse me. And then there was the Ray Rice situation after it, all right? After it. And then, of course, there is a CTE issue, but my whole point is that that issue was explosive. And now with CTE, it's harder than ever to, you can't cover up that there's a problem. And then not only that, you've had some very tragic incidents happen like that. Junior Seau among them, all right? So, let me get back to your comments here, because there's a stream coming out here. Crawford says that Rozelle and Tagliabue were ruthless. Agreed. And John Mark says, I may not ask for the NFL to endorse my radio station. Joseph Binsman says, do you feel the NFL under Goodell could have handled CTE a lot better, Zinni? Just curious. I guess under Tagliabue, they could have started treating it more seriously too. Well, I think that the problem was the NFL always treated it seriously, but it's how they treated it seriously that was the issue. What do I mean? Well, you can treat something really seriously and say, gee, this is really going to hurt us. Therefore, we shouldn't be, forthright about it. That's one way to treat it very seriously. Okay. And for a while, that's what the NFL did. We went through a huge change in society. First of all, the one core problem in all of this is the change in just how good and how powerful athletes have become because of the hyper-specialization in all walks of life of occupations. For example, you've got, all of you have occupations here that you went to school, studied to do, and focused on. Well, we live in an age of specialization like that. But think about the athlete. You have specialized diets. Dwight Freeney has his own nutritionist, his own way of staying healthy that's going to last him well into his elderly years, okay? And is the reason why he's able to play at such a high level at his age. He is but one of many examples. But 20 years ago, you didn't have that as much. 40 years ago, you certainly didn't. And yet the basic structure, the human bone structure here and everything else was the same. Even as the muscles got bigger and we get hit harder, all this is the same. We don't have, steel plating here or anything. We're not bionic. But arguably, there are a number of athletes who have bionic level abilities today in a common package. Something's got to give. And the league, you asked, should the league have been, taking this more seriously? They did, but in the wrong way. Could they have been more direct and forthright about this earlier? Yeah. But would it have cost them a ton of money? Yeah. Should they have paid the ton of money? Yeah, they should have prepped for it. Not like 28 million, but maybe, 300 million. And say, you know what, we're going to take this, we're going to bank it, because we have to deal with this problem upright, and we have to get a handle on it before it becomes a problem. So we're going to commit $300 million toward the rehabilitation of players that have went through this. And we're going to have a constant fund that we constantly replenish for players that have this problem. That's the way they do it. But of course, you know what? Hindsight is 20/20. Always is. So let me get back to your comments, and so I can stop, pontificating on. Rick Rice, what kind of symbol is that you put up there? Let me ask you, what is this? This is hilarious. What is this thing? What is that? What is that? What is that? I don't know. Anyway, oh boy. Rick Rice is the man. Does that mean you're the man? Joseph Benson says, yeah, that's a huge thing the NFL can't receive responsibility for. And Crawford 371 says, with the Goodell's predecessors, they brought the tribes together like Thanksgiving. Yes. But now it's a lot of disharmony with greed. Yeah. But you could argue, hey, Jerry Jones is fueling that. And I also think he fueled it with respect to Adelson, because he told me he thought that Sheldon Adelson would be a fantastic NFL owner, and then pushing the Raiders toward Vegas, which Roger does not want. And I know that's got to have something to do with this as well. Joseph Bensman says, it's sadly ironic. In college, the players are killing themselves for free. For free. In the NFL, they're killing themselves while getting paid a lot of money. Yeah, that is not cool. Richard Lucero, how are you? He says, did not the owners agree to give Roger Goodell a raise, and now they want to fire him? No, they don't want to fire him. That's Jerry Jones that wants to have his contract reviewed. I'll explain that in a second. Not all owners, but except the ones with a star on their logo. Yeah. What Jerry Jones says he wants is, he says he's been, quote, dealing with, unquote, this commissioner as an NFL employee for 28 years. It's about right. And he says that there should be a wider review by all the owners of his contract, as opposed to just the 6 that have to do with evaluating his contract. But the owners have had their say on that. And as I understand it, Jerry Jones, here's what bothers me about this whole thing, okay? You've got Jerry Jones on the one hand talking to Donald Trump on the phone, all right? And arguably taking his cues from the President of the United States, Donald Trump, the same person who calls NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell names, all right? It was acted in a disharmonious way toward the NFL, okay? The same person who said he supported flag burning in 2015, then turned around and became this like pseudo-conservative, right? Jerry Jones is doing that. And then Jerry Jones says, well, there are extenuating circumstances, and he was referring to the whole flag issue that have come up. But wait a minute, is Jerry Jones doing the bidding of Donald Trump? Is Donald Trump trying to sack Roger Goodell in this way using Jerry Jones? Ooh. It's not enough for Trump to want to have his hands on CNN or to consider filing Robert Mueller. But now he's trying to reach into the NFL through Jerry Jones? That's bad stuff. That's what it looks like as I started to think about it, okay? Hey, Hennessy, how are you? Nice to have you here. And Hennessy says, everyone ready for the groundbreaking tomorrow? Laugh out loud, staying in Oakland. Corvette says, I hope it pours rain during the groundbreaking. There's a flood watch and all those tents wash away. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Crawford 371 says, Jones versus Goodell versus Jones should be in the octagon. Yeah, now that's suited. Now that, you know what? That's fitting for Las Vegas. Rick Rice says, Jerry Jones only takes orders from Papa John. Ooh. Crawford 371 says, Corvette, I prefer a Tornado. Crawford 371 says, Rick, does it have better ingredients? I'm not a Papa John's pizza fan. The reason why Papa John's pizza isn't selling well is because Papa John's pizza just simply doesn't taste that good. Period, okay? I mean, what happens is that when you have large advertisements bringing people to your store and your sales suffer, what does it mean? It means your product isn't good. That's what it means. Period. On the other hand, if you have great product and you're an NFL sponsor and more people come to your stores and they like your product, then your sales go up. Okay? So, Joseph Benson says, I read about that too, how the owner of Fox might want to buy CNN. Yikes. Would watch MSNBC religiously from now on if that nightmare scenario happens. That and the BBC. There, okay. And that's the latest comment we've got right now. In fact, let's see what the Malcontent, how are you? How you doing? Yeah, Malcontent, you missed the opening, but hey, that happens. Rick Rice says, I agree, Papa John stinks. Only Peyton Manning eats their pies. Oh, you know, I tried it once, I said never again. Crawford 371 says, Little Caesars is better than Papa John, yet local pizza joint, yeah, local pizza joint. Pedro Gallardo says, my only issue with Goodell is he is taking forever with Alden Smith reinstatement. Yes. Josh Gordon is back. Ding. Give Alden the ultimate last chance. And I'll check on that. And I don't understand what that URL is. Round Table. John Mark, Round Table's pretty good. In fact, Round Table's quite good. There's a Round Table on the corner of Grand Avenue in Staten in Oakland that makes among the best pizza in Oakland. However, it is not, if you will, topped, excuse the pun, by the Star Pizza further up the street on Grand Avenue, past the alley on the left side of the street. It's called the Star. Right across the street from the 7-Eleven, the Grand and Mandana here. It's right over there in Oakland, okay? Great pizza. The best pizza in Oakland other than Zachary's Pizza. No, actually it's better than Zachary's Pizza. Yeah, better than Zachary's Pizza. All right. All right. So Crawford says, hot and ready pies transform the pizza industry. Yep. Crawford says, that's why Peyton has always failed in the playoffs. Too much Papa John's pizza. Yeah, and Rick Rice, you're right about that. Nothing beats the local joint for pizza. And John Marks says, no Round Table Pizza in Kelso, Washington. What do you have, John Marks? Crawford says, Rick, yes, plus the late Mark Ilitch paid Rosa Parks rent until her death. I didn't know that. And Rick Rice said, one bite, everyone knows the rules. You know, we were talking about weather. Let me see what Las Vegas weather is going to be for tomorrow. Las Vegas weather. Let me see here. Okay, right now it's 57 degrees, and it's stated to be 76 degrees with a low of, if I'm not mistaken, 51 tomorrow on Monday. And no participation. 20% humidity, wind 5 miles per hour. And yeah, that's it. It's partly cloudy tomorrow. Thursday it's going to be all cloudy. So that's, you know, there you go. But 75 degrees. So that's the projection for Las Vegas for groundbreaking day. All right. And as far as whether or not you can catch it on the Raiders website, let's see here. We'll let you know in a second if they're going to even have that. I don't know. Or maybe it'll be on the Las Vegas Stadium Authority site. I don't know. Let's see here. Top stories. The official site of the Oakland Raiders. Oakland Raiders. And yeah, they have now live Las Vegas Stadium Cam. They now finally have a Stadium Cam. And there it is. Hey, so someone, you know what? Someone's listening to me. I've been yelling about them not having a live Stadium Cam. They finally have a Stadium Cam. They finally have a website. Okay, they were listening. Because I said, I really got after Mark Bourdain both publicly and privately about not having control over their own message. Well, look, folks, this is it. They are listening. There. This is the stadium cam that they put up there. That's the live stadium cam from, you know, this has to be from over at Mandalay Bay, doesn't it? Because that's the property. That's I-15 right there. Airport's over here, okay? So that's the live stadium cam right there. So good stuff, you know. Let's live. This is panorama, okay? Panorama, which there's your panorama cam. All right, that's from over there, okay? There's Delano. So this is, yeah, okay, over there. What is this? Look at that. What is that? Is that field they were putting up there? Okay. Right there. Is that it? Interesting. If you take that field and you imagine a stadium right there around it, there's not enough space left. There's not much space left for anything. That's the field. You have the field around it, the structure. Next thing you know, you're already taking up that site. Yikes. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to put that thing there. And this is view number 1, okay? So there you go. All right, so hey, you know what? They listened to me because I said to the Raiders, you got to take care of your own message, because I said normally a development has, you know, the developer has control over the message about their own stuff. That's just the way it is. And as much as I've criticized their project, because my big issue is competency. Show that you're a competent developer. I have to say one thing. This is a major step forward for them to do that. All right, it really is. To have that, you know, cam up there, but they need to go a step further and give us a detailed report about what's going on with the facility and its development. I mean, if you're going to do this, don't half-ass it. Do it right in its entirety. Don't just half-ass it, okay? Do it right. Because there's a lot of mistakes here. For example, Stephen Hill put out, oh yeah, Coliseum site's much better. But Stephen Hill put out that, Stephen Hill's the head of the Las Vegas Stadium Authority. He said that the stadium was, he basically said because they're putting, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this in a very simple way, that because they're trying to bank as much as $50 million up front, that my assertion, he didn't say my name, but he was really talking about me and what I put out there. And I'm not being arrogant because I'm the only person that's attacked it in the media. But he said, and I appreciate that he said this, he said that they're not concerned about the revenue stream because they're going to bank up to $50 million. Well, here's the problem. I actually used my spreadsheet and I tested that whole jazz, and it turns out that the difference between the monthly bond debt service for $750 million and for $700 million is only 6.6% less. That's it. And then here's another problem. All right, because it's only 6.6% less, that's not a dramatically low difference in order to get the stadium back in a position where they have a 1.5 to 1 debt coverage ratio per month. Right now, it's still 1.15 to 1. And here's the other big problem, folks. When you have a debt coverage ratio that is not 1.5 to 1, but 1.15 to 1, okay, less, what it means is that the bond underwriter is going to ask for a larger interest rate. And when he or she asks for a larger interest rate, that translates into what? It means a larger monthly debt service that you have to pay because those folks don't believe that your revenue stream is so robust. So they need protection. That's how it works, folks. See, Stephen Hill didn't say all that because there was no one on the board that said, excuse me, doesn't this mean, all right, there's no equivalent of Richard Feynman out there on the board. Richard Feynman's a famous physicist who was on the board evaluating the Challenger explosion, who said, excuse me, and pointed out all these different problems about the O-rings and how they, and everything else, right? Nobody liked that. No, there's nobody in the room like me saying, hey, excuse me, on the board. There's me out there. Wow. So anyway, hey, CSU Rams, how you doing? And Rick Rice says, someone will build the pizza burger. I love the pizza burger. Hey, and Carver says, too bad it won't get built. You know what? There are a lot of things standing, the GOP problem and everything else, all right? GOP problem and everything else. Whew. And the Coliseum site is much better. It really is. It really is. And Go CSU Rams says, what's going on with the deal? I just came in. Hey, Go CSU, what's going on with the deal is that a lot of racism on the part of 872 workers. I will show you again what set me off regarding this. I'm going to show it to you right now once again. And because it's just horrible, horrible stuff that should not even be out there, that someone at Union 872 decided to, put out there for reasons that I have no idea what was in their heads or on their minds, but they did it. And, they should have basically recalled the tweet, taken it down in the interest of, great politics moving forward, but they didn't do that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about, okay? So here we go, all right? It's this. It says, and I said it would be nice if the Oakland Raiders Las Vegas NFL Stadium groundbreaking weren't marred by this kind of racism. And this is it. It says, laborers, local 872 will not be held responsible for someone getting killed on a job site because of a lack of experience just to meet a minority hiring goal. The translation is, hey, look, you know what? We don't think, if you're asking us to find minorities, and, we're going to generally assume that they're not qualified. And then Elizabeth Woods doubles down and says, this is why we train and retrain, want to work with people that know what they're doing. I want to go home every day. If you don't know what you're doing, don't come to our job. And I don't recall anybody that didn't know what they were doing saying they wanted to come to the job. That was a waste of time for both of them to do that. And it was impolitic, awful, stupid, and racist. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They could have spent, there were better things to do with their day than that. Much better things to do with their day. But it's kind of like, oh, they're bored. Oh, well, what can I do today? Oh, I get it. I'll put out a tweet about how I don't want to be held to a standard for hiring black people. Great. Great. On a holy day. It's Sunday. Wait a minute. It's Sunday, right? In fact, they did this on a Sunday or did this on a, yeah, they did this on a Saturday. It was on the 11th. So fortunately, they didn't do it on a holy day. But still, geez Louise. People. All right. Hennessy says, let's all remember Sacramento laid foundation for the Raiders and they never made it. Think about that. Ding. And quite right. Quite right. Malcontent says, Stadium Cam, they need a live tracker on the Raiders' bank account. Go CSU Ram says, oh yeah, I forgot. It's still there, Hennessy. Go CSU Sam. Glad to see you here. Go CSU, and we'll follow up later. Bowser Ruler beckons us with his wisdom. He says, Mandalay Bay workers not getting hours. Schedules due to October 1st shooting. Yeah, I saw that. And he said, yeah, the GOP tax plan may pass. Hey, Bouse. Joseph Bensman says, really hope it doesn't, John Marks. Me too, Joseph. And John Marks says, wish I was here. Yeah. And hey, Bouse, you around there? Bouse. Bouse. Where's Bouse? I think Bouse left, or is he here? Crawford 371 says, if the plan don't pass Congress, what up? Hey, Bouse, you got time to get on Skype real quick? Not video, just phone. That way I don't have to put my camera up and do all that stuff, right? But, got time for that? John Mark says, wish you were here earlier, Bouse. Yeah, I would have been like, ugh. But, let's see here. We got, while I'm waiting for his response, I'm going to see if the stadium cam is up on, Boss says, unfortunately not, but I promise this week I can. Okay, you got it, okay. Hey, Jerry M., how are you? What up, Zinster? He hit the Z instead of the L or whatever. But, let's see here. We've got, my tweet has been posted. Posted or toasted? Posted. I got it. And I'll retweet that. And it's retweeted. Got it. Okay. Now, moving along, we've got Murder Eula says Black Michael Medrano. Okay. Oh, Michael Medrano. I don't have anything against Michael Medrano once I have an exchange with him, because I think he seems like he's a kind person who's well meaning but uninformed, and he seems to want the best for the Raiders, but for some particular reason he's got this sort of knee-jerk anti really understanding how to crunch the numbers point of view, and he sort of rests with that view. I mean, for example, we had this exchange on Facebook, which I prefer to be on my blog, but that's another story. I got to re-engineer that. But and he told me something that I just made me go, what? And he wrote it. He wrote it. He wrote it. He wrote it in black and white. He said that the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, doesn't have anything to do with municipal bonds. It was only personal. So which I wrote back, I said, I couldn't believe what I was reading. I simply instructed him to read this, okay? And I'll show you what I sent to him. And I typed in the words IRS bond law in Google, like so. And then I clicked on this. It's called IRS Publication 4079, right? And this is what it is, folks. IRS Publication 4079. Voila. IRS Office of Tax Exempt Bonds. Oh! Okay. The IRS Office of Tax Exempt Bonds. All right, and what gets me is he's, probably, more than likely younger than me, right? And it's an internet age. And you got to figure that with this stuff being just a click away, he should know to find it before he writes something like that out for others to see, okay? So I put that out there kind of like, bam, right? And silence. Silence, all right? So, all right. And Boss, you really says, Jones and Blank didn't exchange words today? Oh, and you turned me on to something, Boss, I'm going to check out right now. Pedro Galaro says, any other destination for Raiders relocating besides Vegas? Oakland. Mark not wanting to stay in Oakland and Vegas, doing murky. I hope that don't move further away. And stay in Oakland, man. Because here, if I haven't said this before or made another video about it, I will. But do you realize that the GOP tax deal would not have affected the Oakland Raiders / Fortress Ronnie Lott deal at all? Why? It was a revenue bond deal already, which wasn't being issued by the city or county. Ding! So, there you go. All right? Completely untouched. There would have been not a worry in the world. Instead, worry. Okay? And John Marks says, why can't Oakland use the tax-exempt bonds for Raiders Stadium? John Marks, the good news is, first of all, you have to understand something. Nobody in Oakland wants to use that kind of tax-exempt bond structure at all, which calls for a general obligation bond issued by a government. We did it. We did use a revenue bond that used the county backing the county and the city with the Raiders, and it got us into trouble. So the objective this time, as per the order of Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, among others, like the County of Alameda Board and the Oakland City Council, was not to do it. So Fortress came along with the perfect solution. That's why. And so what the Raiders chose is now under a cloud of legal change that would cause it to be illegal if that happens. So, hope that answers your question, John Marks. You just wrote okay. And Bosch Rula says, Marks, we're not using taxpayer funds, right? Crawford 371 says, if Vegas fails, the league will put master locks on other cities, even San Diego. Yep. And John Marks says, Fortress is our answer. Yeah, it has been. You know, I applaud with the work that Drew McKnight and his staff have done. I think it's been really quite great. Where's Barry Lee, by the way? Am I missing something? Is Barry Lee not among us? Is he okay? Are we not Barry Strong? As much as, you know, anything else. In fact, you know what? I have to say one thing about, you know, Barry Strong and everything else. And we might be talking about this deal, but we have to remember something, okay? And I'm going to go back to this, and I want to make this absolutely crystal clear right here, okay? And what I want to make absolutely crystal clear here is this. I want you to see this. As much as people may not want to look at it, I want you to see this, okay? And that's this. Hold on a second. This is from the building, which was the site of 1 October. Do you realize that? Do you realize that? That's what this is from. Okay? So this is kind of a Phoenixian moment. You know, like a phoenix rising from the ashes kind of thing. Okay? And it should not be discounted. The horror of what people went through there should never be forgotten. And so I understand more than a number of people realize what a number of people working on this project in Las Vegas are thinking. And the symbol they want to establish, that they're not giving up, that they're truly Vegas strong. I get that. The only problem is the situation exists within the context of an organization that has got there through misrepresenting its situation in Oakland. So in other words, the joy that everybody should feel over what the Raiders are trying to do is marred by how the Raiders treated Oakland Raiders fans, the city of Oakland, and the San Francisco Bay Area, and really Oakland Raiders fans all over the world who identify with the Oakland Raiders. As I said to a friend of mine earlier today, as we're talking to Lars, I said this: if you take the Raiders out of Oakland, you take Oakland out of the Raiders. I'll repeat that. If you take the Raiders out of Oakland, you take Oakland out of the Raiders. I'll repeat that one more time. If you take the Raiders out of Oakland, you take Oakland out of the Raiders. And I'll repeat it again. If you take the Raiders out of Oakland, you take Oakland out of the Raiders. Just letting you know. Okay? Letting you know. Boshua says Ellison would be richest guy in sports ever. He and I have an argument about that one. Crawford says that should be in 280 characters. But I'm serious, okay? If you take Oakland, put that on Twitter. If you take Raiders out of Oakland, you take Oakland out of the Raiders. That's it. Richard says, I agree with you, Zinni, 100%. Tell your friends. Let that be the Twitter thing tomorrow. If you take the Raiders out of Oakland, you take Oakland out of the Raiders. All right? They just become something out there that's a plaything of somebody else and losing a lot and everything else and nothing. Okay? Nothing. 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 With not even the same fans, right? Nothing. If you take the Raiders out of Oakland, you take Oakland out of the Raiders. That win against the Chargers, against the Kansas City Chiefs on Thursday would never have happened anywhere else other than the Coliseum. How many great games? You know what's going to happen too? If this deal gets that far, if this deal manages to fix its problems, its humongous level of them, okay? You will never see an era like the Oakland Raiders ever again in your entire lives. Ever. Ever. Just won't. Just won't. Okay? You can kiss it. What did it say? Tell it goodbye? Who's the announcer for the Giants? Tell it when Barry Hill home run. Tell it goodbye. Tell it goodbye. Goodbye. All right? That's what everybody has to remember. Even my friend JT the Brick, and I say this, my friend JT the Brick, okay, who lives in Las Vegas, love him. But hey, JT, he's wrong, man. JT, remember this. If you take the Raiders out of Oakland, you take Oakland out of the Raiders. All right? So, all right. So, just saying. Lon Simmons made that statement. Lon Simmons, okay? Boss says, Zinni says everyone is his friend too. So much sick in my head, too nice of a guy. That's what my mom says. You're such a nice guy. I like being a nice person. I really do. To me, this is a political role, okay? I mean, and I don't say that pejoratively. I like to be connected with people. I like to walk in. I like to go here and, know everybody from the CEO to the janitor. I like to go over here and know everybody from the owner of the restaurant to the cook, to the waitress and everybody else. So, I like that. I like being connected, all right? Boss Ruler says he likes being mean. He likes being mean so much he won't even use his real name. See, I have no problem saying my name. I'm Zinni Abraham. I was thinking about actually changing Zinni62 just as Zinni Abraham and just, moving forward with that, right? But I'm kind of Zinni62 out there. And the reason why I'm Zinni62 is because I'm proud of the fact that I was born same day as Barack Obama, 1 year later, August 4th, 1962. And I have a unique view of society that's taken me from being born in Chicago on the South Side to two wonderful parents. And we had a lot when I was young, flying on United Airlines for as long as I've had, seeing a lot of the world in a unique way, and really gaining a view of society and its change, and being an early adopter of tech that has fueled a view that I want to share with the world. So I'm Zinni62, but I digress. My point is, I'm using my name. Whereas Baus says, Baus' name was banned on Facebook. Laugh out loud, long story. All right. So, Baus says Chargers. Yeah. Oh, by the way, there was something else we were talking about. Speaking of our friend Jason Cole, right? And Jason Cole, you said check out Jason Cole's Twitter account. So I'm going to do that. Because I think you said, oh, by the way, check out my friend Jason LaConfort as well. Jason Cole. And let's see here. Jason Cole, 62. Is he now calling himself 62? Yeah. I follow him. He says, exceedingly blunt journalism teacher. Big fan of Michael Simon. All right. And Jason Cole put this tweet up about 5 hours ago. It's worth a review. It's right here. Okay, here. All right. And it reads like this. They have been instructed not to talk. This is by our NFL Network's great guy, Jeff Darlington. Jerry Jones says he did not talk to Arthur Blank before today's game. He notes that it is rare but not unprecedented for two owners not to talk. Jones and Blank are currently employed in a sticky situation regarding ... And Jason says they have been instructed not to talk, okay? And Jason says Jag's going to jag. This is smart. It's just difficult when the N-word is used in pop culture outside the niche of small group family. Becomes confusing for the less sophisticated. I appreciate the view in context. Ooh, what was that about? Oh, and then he says one side of the Jerry Jones, Roger Goodell kerfuffle is that the league lawyers have instructed team owners not to talk to Jerry Jones or each other about the situation. In short, business partners now must be incredibly careful in discussion, slowing possible solution. All right. So, yeah, there's a indication of a problem. And Jason, just because I read your tweets doesn't mean I think that that Cal is that Stanford is somebody I want to root for. Even though I think Stanford may win again. Well, no. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say this time, Jason Cole, Cal's going to beat Stanford in the big game. Anyway, moving along. So we've got, all right. Yeah, Cal's upsetting Stanford, Bow says. Dissent in the league. Crawford says the NFL is burning like Hollywood. I would not say that. Although I would say, regarding the NFL and Hollywood, this. And welcome to Zenny62. There are now 35 of you watching. Appreciate that. By the way, I will, for those of you who are so inclined, announce that this is a double shares night right here. And in other words, if you invest, I'll make it double shares. In fact, you know what? Right here. I'll give you 2.5 times the number of shares. That's right, I said that. 2.5 times, all right? That's unprecedented. So in other words, if you invest, you will get 2.5 times. 2.5 times the standard number of shares that I've allotted, and I am due to a lot more. And hey Sean, how are you? Saying invest right here, and boom, there you are. I've just said it. Boom. And yeah, Hollywood is not. I'll tell you what's in major trouble regarding Hollywood, and it's not so much. It is not so much Hollywood as the Democratic Party, my Democratic Party. That for years we've relied on that donor base in Hollywood, led by, among others, that's right, Harvey Weinstein, right? Well, guess what? To a large extent, that donor base has been, as we knew it, destroyed. The question is, will Hollywood women step forward and essentially replace what Harvey Weinstein has done in that donor base? And, you know, time will tell, right? But considering next year we're already into an election cycle, it's kind of time to start ponying up that money. But, you know, say what you will about Harvey Weinstein, a lot of people have said a lot of things. The man was a donor to the Democrats, and he did help Donald Trump as well. But Democrats primarily. Okay? Wow. So, man, oh man. I don't want to delve into talking about that whole issue. I just want to mention it parenthetically, okay? And there are some reasons. John Marks asks, can a woman accuse an NFL owner of a sex scandal? Yes. Joseph Bensma says, I also think the way we Democrats lead has to change in order for Democrats not to lose themselves. Agreed. Agreed. Now, getting back to football, I'm gonna get to our scores. Buccaneers won a game, 15-10, over the Jets. That means the defense was playing well. Steelers 20, Colts 17. They won on the last play of the game. Seahawks 22, Cardinals 16. That was Thursday night. The Packers. Jesus, the Packers beat the Bears 23-16 without. They didn't have the services of Aaron Rodgers. They had that dude from UCLA. Wait, they had the brother from UCLA. Yeah, they won. Woo! Good for him. Good for him. Yeah, I'm serious. Good for him. I mean, you know, he won. Now, let's see what his numbers were real quick. He beat... You had... This is in Chicago, too. At Soldiers Field, you had Brad Hundley versus Mitch Trubisky. Two young guns of the NFL. The young gun was challenged by the slightly younger gun. Let me get rid of that. Mitch Trubisky was 21-35. Wow. 297 yards, 1 touchdown. Let me see something here, because somehow the NFL gives you these partial passing statistics, and you have to click to get the rest. Okay, now we got them. Neither quarterback threw an interception. And the difference was on the ground. With Williams 20 for 67 yards, longest game 7. Joe Howard was held to 54 yards on 15 carries for the Bears. Wow. There's your difference. Hey, everybody, welcome. Now there's 40 of you on here. Welcome. Nice to have everybody here. Oh, and by the way, Patrick Blackman, Eric, a number of people, I will get your allotments out for your shares tonight. Don't worry. And Machado for Coach of the... McAdoo for Coach of the Year. Haha. For Giants? You mean anti-Coach of the Year, right? McVay for Coach of the Year, sure. The Niners won 31-21. Let's go back to that, right? Let's go back to our recapping of these things, okay? And as we were doing, because that was quite interesting. I mean, it was quite interesting. Hold on a second. I am just making a little tweet out here, and there, okay, boom, right there. All right, now, we have, we have, hold on a second. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, going back to the scores, I just had to take a look at that Bears game. That was really, if you're a Bears fan, it was unbearable, all right? We have Detroit beating Cleveland 38-24, and the Hugh Jackson win watch continues. Ooh, boy. On the day that Kyle Shanahan gets his win, Hugh Jackson is still looking for his first win in the second year of his tenure as the coach of the Cleveland Browns. That's horrible. I never thought Hugh Jack would perform so poorly. Indianapolis was, boy, this is horrible. Indianapolis, I point out the score with the Steelers. New Orleans clobbered the Buffalo Bills. Remember the same Bills that beat the Raiders? 47-10. 47-10. Hey, thank you for the investment, Mr. Grimmer. It's a 2.5 share night. I got you. Thank you for the investment. And New England 41, Denver 16 in a contest that, boy. Do we really want to talk about that? Jacksonville 20, the Chargers 17 in overtime. Tennessee 24, the Bengals 20. The Bengals continue their slide. Minnesota pulled it out against the Washington, parentheses, Kirk Cousins behaves like Kirk Cousins, Redskins 38-30. And we have the Houston Texans got clobbered by the Rams 33-7. Of course, we talked about it. Thanks to Adrian Clayborne's 6 sacks, one short of the record, the Atlanta Falcons clobbered the Dallas Cowboys, the Mercedes-Benz Dome, 27-7. And tomorrow night, we've got Carolina hosting the Miami Dolphins in what might look on paper like it might be a snooze fest, but maybe not. So, maybe not. You remember that we always say, blah, 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 like I always say, that's why they play the game. Boss says Rams' schedule's about to get tough. Crawford says, what a difference a coach can make to an organization. And Boss says Bills Mafia. The Boring Bowl tomorrow night, says James McClendon. Crawford says the LA Coliseum might get Sunday Night Football soon. Eric Guerrero says no. Yeah, because of the flex schedule. Eric Guerrero says, no, Zay, thank you for the work that you do. Hey, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to me to hear that. Thank you. And Bashrudo says, Miami stinks. They let the Raiders beat them. And what? Hey, that was a great win. In fact, Mike Lowry, I don't know, Mike Lowry. Listen, Mike Lowry and Octavio both gave me videos. I'm going to put those together one day soon. But Boss points out, John Marks asks, will they fill the LA Coliseum? But speaking of which, we are talking about the Rams schedule. I'm going to click on the Rams because I want to find out how Jared Goff did. And Jared Goff. So we've got, excuse me here, put that on. Jared Goff was 25 or 37 for 355 yards and 3 touchdowns. Go Bears. Tom Savage was 15 of 36 for 221 and 1 touchdown. Yeah. Todd Gurley, 11 for 68, 6.2 yard average. Dunbar, 5 for 31, another 6.2 yards. Rams. Boy, study that offense. Find out what they're feeding those guys. Just saying. Wow. Wow. Now, you all talk about the Rams' schedule. Let's see what the Rams, we used to call them a Lambs, schedule looks like. First of all, they're 32.9 points per game are the first in the National Football League. Their yards at 388.9 are the third in the NFL. Passing yards, 260.1. They are 8th, if I'm not mistaken. Rushing yards, they are 5th at 128.8 on the ground. As far as their schedule is concerned, we will scroll down, click on the schedule link. And, okay, their next game, the next contest is, they have 6 games remaining, I believe. 7 games remaining, all right? They play at US Bank Stadium, Minnesota, November 19th. Then they are back against New Orleans hosting the Saints. That's going to be a blockbuster right there. November 26th. Yeah, 26th. And then December 3rd, they're at University of Phoenix Stadium against the Cardinals. Then they go back to the Coliseum to host the Philadelphia Eagles in what I believe will be a preview of the NFC Championship game. And then they're going to go to CenturyLink Field to take on the Seattle Seahawks, which could be another preview of the NFC Championship game. And then they finish hosting the Niners, all right? And in between that, they will go to take the surging Tennessee Titans, at least right now surging, who knows where they're going to be then, take on the Tennessee Titans at Nissan Stadium. Maybe Taylor Swift will be in the audience, who knows? But that's the rest of their schedule, and as Boss points out, it is going to get tougher for those guys. It really is. So thank you for pointing that out. And Joseph Bensman says, when the Steelers give Bell 20-plus carries, they don't lose. Feed them. Let's check on that. And let's see what his numbers were on that note. And God, I love talking football. This is such fun stuff, you know? It really is. We've got, let's see here. Feed that down there. And I'm going to stop at 1:15, folks, so I can go back and get some rest and hang out with mom, and I really enjoy keeping my mom company here, and out here in Georgia. So gotta say, folks, spend time with your parents. There are fewer better things in life to do. All right, so Steelers and Colts game center. Hold on a second. All right. Let's see here. Going down, Ben Roethlisberger was 19 of 31 for 235 yards and 2 touchdowns. Let's click on this box score. We have Jacoby Brissett, 14 of 24, 223, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he's 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, same as Roethlisberger. Jacoby's a heck of a player. The difference, however, Le'Veon Bell, 26 carries, 80 yards, longest gain 15. And yeah, that was a big difference because Frank Gore had 17 carries, but for 54 yards. And overall, in terms of offense, we had total first downs, 18 for the Steelers, 13 for the Colts. Net yards rushing, 88 versus 71. Not much of a difference there. And as passing was really where the Steelers shine. They were about 228 in net yards versus 186 for the Colts. And then we have looking for total return yardage, penalties. Penalties were even. Fumbles, Colts lost the ball none, and the Steelers lost the ball once. Red zone efficiency, the Steelers were 2 of 4, 50%. Basically, rating this game as I do, the Steelers got into the red zone, whereas the Colts were fine between the 20s, okay? And that's what you're looking at. So, yeah, that's what you're looking at. Just had to get that little analysis out of the way since you were talking about that. Hey, got a great investment from right here from, thank you very, very much. That was note from ML Scott. Thank you, Mr. Scott. And again, this is 2.5 day. For the first time in Zenny 62 history, we have double times 2.5 times as opposed to twice. Yeah, 2.5, yeah. Not going to do that a lot either. So, yeah, Crawford says Brissett played well. And Bosherwood says Raider about to give up in a few weeks. Watch. Bosherwood says Rick Rice, new Philly word. They'll lose 2 meal games. And John Mark says Cam Robinson update, please. Okay, let me do that real quick. Cam Robinson update. Let's see here. Cam Robinson. Yeah, Cam Robinson, who has been a star for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The man the Raiders should have drafted, but they did not because they thought Galeon Conley was going to be a big star, and it didn't happen at this point. So, what's the latest news about Mr. Robinson? Well, he sprained his left ankle, and he sprained his left ankle on the second offensive play of that was there, and so there's no word on his injury, and he did not return. Let's see here. We've got see if there's any updates on him. It says sorry, there's no additional coverage at this time. Don't see that there. So you know what? I'll go to the more reliable news source, and that really is. Twitter has become more reliable a news source than Google News. I just have to say it really has. So, all right. Got Cam Robinson. Cam Robinson going once. Cam Robinson going twice. Cam Robinson, Jacksonville, Florida, latest. He has his Twitter account is just Cam period. All right. Let's see here. And we don't have anything about the Oh, here's a someone on Twitter give me a casual evaluation 3 hours ago. Is Cam Robinson not a wonderful lineman? Not disagreeing on the Ingram pick, but I thought he'd play well. I thought he'd play well so far this season. And yeah. So, you know, people are heaping praise on Cam Robinson, all right? And week in, week out, the Jags call, let's see here. Cam Robinson being called for false start when Liggett crosses the line neutral zone. That was 9 hours ago. So he played. And he wasn't in the wrong. He did exactly what the offensive lineman. So he played, and someone said that he had what Brooks Stubbs on Twitter is describing by far the worst game for Cam Robinson this season, and mainly because he had some offside penalties on 4th and 1. So he was flagged for a false start move, and so basically it was some false starts that got him into trouble. And so because of that, they were saying he had a bad game. No, and then he was getting whipped. So Joey Bosa is a beast, absolutely eating. Okay, so Joey Bosa basically gave Cam Robinson a hard time today, according to these Twitter accounts, as Josh Lambo Stan says, Cam Robinson getting abused this game. Woo-hoo! And so basically, he was either getting abused by Joey Bosa or Melvin Ingram. Either way, he had a problem. 2 holds on Cam Robinson today. Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa, no joke. But with all that, guess what? They won. So, young Jeffy says, Cam Robinson hasn't felt this much heat since he was in handcuffs facing felony charges. Oh! That was for possession. You know, that was... And really, it shouldn't have happened, but it happened. Cam Robinson is the guy that comes to get off defenders off his teammates, protector. Reminder, Cam Robinson is awesome. That was 11 hours ago. Left tackle Cam Robinson is the guy that comes and get defenders off his teammates. He was mixing it up. All right, so Cam Robinson had a busy game. He got a little fisticuffs. He got manhandled by Joey Bosa or Melvin Ingram, depending on the Twitter account you believe. No reason not to. And, there you go. And the Jags came away and they won the game. There you go. They won. So there's your update, John Marks. Let's see here. We've got, who am I missing here? Boss says, Rick Rice, Raiders were overrated. Crawford says, Tennessee had a turnover, garbage on Twitter. Bosch says, Raiders don't have a turnover. Yeah, still don't. Wow. And the U is back. And Big April, how you doing? He says, Big April says, that was a good one, Boss. Pats do cheat, but I don't think they will go that far. There. So it's, folks, it's 11:12 at night on the East. John Marks, you're welcome. And Memo Scott says, we'll be discussing Friday's LBSA meeting tomorrow. I can do that again. It was actually Thursday's meeting. So I can discuss that tomorrow. I was thinking of if there was a stadium live stream of the groundbreaking, I was thinking of actually making a critique of the groundbreaking because I'm really anxious to see if Sheldon Adelson shows up. I'm looking for the politics behind this thing. So anyway, stay tuned for a signal on that. I'll find the link, the leak. In fact, you know what? Let me check with the handy dandy or somewhat handy dandy Las Vegas Stadium Authority meeting website. All they have are Raiders personal seat license deposit information, but no link regarding the groundbreaking, which is wild. So there you go. There you go. All right. So Malcolm says, yes, let's break down the groundbreaking. Big Apple says, what happened at the meeting? We'll talk about that later because it is time for this guy. Emil Scott says, he has a few gripes about the content of that meeting. You have? So do I. Stay tuned, folks. Because what went down there was racist. I put out 3 videos. I got 1 more to put out, which I'll do tomorrow. Wow. Bad stuff. Bad stuff. Boston really says Sheldon ain't showing. I want to see who comes. I want to see. I expect Goodell to be there. I want to see if Steve Wynn is going to stand next to Roger Goodell, or Roger Goodell is going to stand next to Steve Wynn. You know, there's all this drama, okay? Or, you know, what will happen? Will Jerry Jones show up? I mean, you know, will Jones, who pushed this, show up and then stand next with Mark Davis next to Roger Goodell? I mean, you gotta wonder, okay? Bashirula says Goodell won't be there. I would be surprised if Roger Goodell isn't there, that's a slap in the face to the Raiders. And it's a slap in the face to Mark Davis as an owner. So I would be very surprised if Roger Goodell was not at the groundbreaking. Okay? And so, Seth Grogan says I should go to ask them. They don't want me there. No, they don't want me there to ask the tough questions. I mean, I think they felt like they've been talking to me already. Okay. And Malcolm says Adelson will be there standing with the UNLV people. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. So if you have Adelson and Goodell in the room, that's what I'm saying. That'll be interesting. All right, folks. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Sorry for you just came in. I am on a self-imposed time. Godfather, whenever Godfather comes back is when he comes back. You will know, and I will let you know. But Godfather's working his tail off. But I will see you all. I will see you all. I got to get some more of the Raiders here. Like, yeah, and you bet your last money it's all going to be everything else. That's right. And that. And that. And that. And that. And that. Good night, everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. I'll see you all tomorrow. Okay, see ya. Thanks.